Well, let's get some industry reaction to today's announcement on testing, quarantines, and suspended flights down south. Joining me from Ottawa is John McKenna. He's the president and CEO of the Air Transport Association of Canada. Welcome to the program.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Thank you. So the federal government is beefing up flight restrictions to stop people from taking a warm vacation. It's introducing the mandatory testing and hotel quarantines. What's this going to mean for airlines?
Well, airlines situation has been going from bad to worse since last spring. And we're hoping that, testing, we're hoping that vaccines, hoping that these things will all help bring this to a term. But the government adds new layers of testing and so on, but then doesn't relax any of the restrictions. And until restrictions on quarantines are lifted, our industry is going to have a very hard time dealing with this.
Now, Sunwing is one of the affected airlines. They are part of your association, so there are going to be a lot of canceled flights down south for them. The Prime Minister said the government worked with airlines on this, but can you tell us if you know of any talk about reimbursement or any kind of financial aid specifically for these lost flights between now and the end of April?
Well, the Prime Minister's answer to that question today was very evasive, and that he's been promising help since we first wrote to him back in March. And we have yet to see the light of day. Whether they're talking to individual airlines, maybe, but I'm not aware of that. I'm not being informed of that. So we're very concerned by that. We're also very concerned, but the Prime Minister has to understand that aviation in Canada is more than international aviation or transborder aviation. There are over 150 communities in Canada that depend solely on aviation as a lifeline. So the regional aviation is key to this country, and of course it's all a connectivity, so everything's linked to everything, but as a rule, our industry is in dire straits.
Well, I want to ask you about that. Certainly your association represents a number of airlines that serve those vital regional and remote stops, and you mentioned that campaign over recent months to get some more aid. There is a new Minister of Transport. We know that there will be a federal budget coming up sometime this spring. Where do things stand right now in terms of your conversations with the federal government?
Well, we talk to the federal government every day on restrictions going forward, but it's more of an information session than a dialogue, because we do talk to them, but we're not sure if they're actually listening. We have no indications that they are. The other thing is that a lot of these decisions are being made by Health Canada, who don't understand our industry at all. And we're Canada on Transport Canada and their minister first and foremost to defend our situation and say, hey, hold on, some of these restrictions are just detrimental or impractical. And we're not seeing that now. Of course, the new minister is still being briefed, so we haven't had a chance to meet with him. We're hoping to do so as soon as possible. We welcome new blood in this file, and we look forward to working with him. But and we've been waiting since April for some kind of indication that they're going to, actually do something, not just talk about it. And we're still waiting for that.
So we're talking today, really the news today is these international flights going south to Mexico and to the Caribbean. In terms of the situation within Canada, though, we know that Manitoba, for instance, has instituted a 14-day quarantine for all travelers into the province. British Columbia had floated the idea of greater interprovincial restrictions. So, as we have these developments and as we have new concern mounting about new variants of COVID-19, what's the effect going to be for smaller airlines if we start to see more interprovincial restrictions like this?
Well, health is a provincial jurisdiction, so that's one of the problems, is that we're looking for the federal government to show leadership here and trying to get people to work together so that we have standards across the country. Alberta came out with some rapid testing that they're doing a pilot project right now. Toronto's doing it also. We need to get this done as quickly as possible. We need for this to be coordinated by the federal government, even though they don't pull the strings on this because it's provincial jurisdiction. We need their leadership to make sure that all these people are working together.
All right, well, let's finish with this. We've talked a lot about the wider economic picture for airlines. We know larger airlines, Air Canada, recently WestJet as well, they've canceled flights, they've laid off thousands of workers. I guess give me more on the ground sense of what the situation is for airline workers, for all of the various industries that support airlines right now in Canada. Now you're again facing this mandatory quarantine, you're facing this increasing testing regimen. So talk to me a bit about what the situation is on the ground right now for the people actually working or people who've lost their jobs.
Aviation in Canada in 2019, 2020 was basically 150,000 direct jobs and 400,000 indirect jobs. And many of these indirect jobs is the support industry. And these people are particularly hurting because service being so low, there's less requirement for their services. So they're losing people daily. Pilots and mechanics and all those people, as flight engineers and cabin crew, they're all either walking away from our industry because they don't see the day to work again, or they're close to retirement and they're saying, I might as well just go away. So we're going to lose key people when time comes around to restart again. And when we do restart, we don't know what we'll be facing. I mean, right now we're trying to short-term survival, but the long-term survival is what's our industry going to look like? And that is an unknown.
All right, well, we'll certainly continue following the story. John McKenna, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you.